Mark, many congratulations. 6 years after you left here, what persuaded you to come back here?
When I got the call saying that the board were interested in talking to me, you have an instant reaction. Is it, and you get the feel right away how you feel, and immediately, when I got that question asked, it was a positive thing in my head, in my heart, as it were. So I was delighted, and after speaking to what is here the football committee and eventually to the owner at some length about his intentions and his motivation for doing what he's doing here, I became convinced that it was something that I could really get my teeth into and would like to be part of. So here I am.
How different a challenge do you think you face second time round?
Yeah, I think it is different. I think that it's the same in the sense that the immediate priority is what happens on Saturday, and not really any grand, schemes beyond that. But ultimately, there are other things to be done at the club in terms of building, a more secure future and a more, defined strategy with regards to players and development of players and all of that. But that's something we'll do as we go along. Whereas when I was here before, really it was just a simple case of getting the best out of that team that day, that year, and finishing as high up the league as we could. That's still a priority. It's still something that we'll be working at. But beyond that, there are other issues that I hope to be part of.
How do you anticipate this job affecting your current job with Scotland? Will you still continue to be the assistant manager there?
I'll continue to be the assistant manager there if the manager continues to be the manager there, and we're all kind of waiting to hear, how that's going to, fall. If Gordon continues as manager, then yes, Gordon has made it quite clear that he would like me to continue, and the club here have made it quite clear, particularly the owner, Les, that he is more than happy for me to continue in that role.
Did he encourage you to take this job, Gordon?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was asked the question and when I put it to him that I'd been asked the question, then he was really very enthusiastic about the club, about what I know about the club and the idea of me coming back here, and particularly the idea of me working again on a full-time basis. So yeah, he was happy for me.
Do you have any further insight as to whether Gordon's going to stay on?
I don't. I think I can't talk for everyone, of course, but for the vast majority of people that I've spoken to, and certainly from the reaction that Gordon got in Gibraltar, which I know he found absolutely extraordinary, and I would think that he would measure as one of the great moments in his career, literally. I think that it was a very, very special night because of the reaction that he got. So I think that did him the power of good, and I would hope, like so many of those guys, that he would continue.
What sort of a challenge is it, Mark, coming in here 10 games into a season, squad's already been built and so on?
I've done that before, actually. I went to Brighton after a few games. I'm not getting my head of myself here, but I went to Brighton after a few games and we got promoted through the playoffs. I went to Millwall after a few games and we won the title. So it's not something that is impossible to get to grips with. So I've no worries about that. I'm not having to work on a pre-season. The guys are up and running. So what I'm doing is taking away videos of all the games or DVDs of all the games. I'll look at every game that they've played so far, and I'll learn as much as quickly as I can about what's went so far. So there's a lot of knowledge there that I can gain, a lot of insight I can gain into what's been going on so far. So in some ways that's a good thing.
Do you know much about what's been going on here so far in terms of personnel? Is that something you've
Yeah, of course. I've got to get the intimate details of it and got to get up close and personal with players and find out about their personalities, about their needs, and why they've been playing well or why they've not been playing well, and try and help them or continue it, whatever the case may be. So I think you can only do that in the training ground and within the club. So I look forward to getting back to that.
What would be success for Motherwell this
I think not being in the embarrassing situation that they were in last year, and scrambling at the end to avoid relegation. I think we would hope to rise above that and do a little bit better than that. After that, the expectations have not been defined. We're not particularly talking about any finishing position, except we would say we'd want to get the maximum we can out of the players that we have here and finish as high up the league as should be possible with that group of players. And I've still to really learn how high that is. I remember when I came here with the first time, I looked at the squad. We went to Austria and I looked at the squad and I looked at the team in training and in the matches, and I thought, how can this team finish 11th in the league? I could see that there was ability, I could see there was talent. Ross McCormack and Clarkson and these boys were good players, and I thought, we have to be better than 11th. So I've still to see this squad and still to see them up close to know where I think that what we can achieve. But I think, improvement in all areas would be the first and foremost, and see where it takes us.
Do you have a budget?
Not particularly, but I mean, you're tied into a lot of things anyway. Remember, with windows and all of that, I'll be looking at what we've got before I worry about what comes next.
Have you had a chance to speak to Stephen Craigan, who of course was in charge after
No, I haven't actually. In fact, I've not even seen Craigs. Do we know where he is?
He's on his way away.
Apparently, he's taking the afternoon off. No, I will. Of course, I'll speak to Craigs. Craigs is. I have total respect for Craigs. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Of course, I've seen him recently. Seen him at games. I think the last time I saw him was at probably at Firhill at Celtic when he was doing his commentary. I look forward to seeing Craigs and hear what he's got to say about it. And I'll take good counsel from the likes of Craigs and other senior players who are here. That will be able to give me plenty of information about the squad.
Could you have asked for a more difficult first game in charge?
I could have played Celtic away. That might be slightly more difficult. But get it over with. I'm not worried about that. I think that we can't, approach any game against any team differently. We've got to think ourselves as being the underdogs in every game we play, and therefore, sort of rolling up our sleeves and getting organised and working hard to be better than being the underdogs, and see where it takes us, see what it can get us. I'm looking forward to the game.
On the back of the campaign, Scotland campaign, Mark, how are you feeling coming into this job?
I feel better this morning because I have this job. I feel great about the job. I still feel like everyone else, absolutely gutted and still in a little bit of shock with regards to the fact that we are, we haven't qualified, we're not even in the playoffs. I feel that is a huge, huge disappointment, and I feel, like Gordon does, culpability in that. We can talk about bad luck, we can talk about, whatever way you want to dress it up, but ultimately we haven't qualified, and therefore that was the task put to us. So, I'm very, very disappointed and, in some ways a little bit embarrassed about that. But, this is different. This is not Scotland. This is Motherwell. And, it's a different, challenge. And it's something that, gets me away from the dark place I was in with so many other people about the Scotland thing.
You want to put things right with Scotland. Do you think Gordon's have a mind to put things right?
I hope so. I can't speak for Gordon. I think that there has been progress. I think we deserve to be judged by results. So I think if someone said, look, you didn't qualify, you're up the road, then I think you'd have to accept that. But I think they still couldn't deny that there has been progress. I think that there has been improvement. I think there's a style emerged, and I think that is a good sort of template for going forward. I think the way Gordon works with the team, the way he's got the team, has a future. So therefore I think he keeps developing it. I hope he keeps developing it, and takes it on to the next tournament. But only he can answer that.
Mark, how feeling?
I've kind of went like that, but. Also, there's the cold reality. Whatever Gordon was feeling when he left the other day, after the emotional time he had on Sunday night, he goes away and in the quiet of his own home contemplates what's happened, and maybe then goes back to the bad place. So I don't know. I couldn't read Gordon. Gordon's not easy to read. You know, he's got his own mind, and he's entitled to that, and he will make his own decision in time. I say it again, I hope he continues.
Do you think, Mark, that since you left the top flight in Scotland, do you think the top flight is weaker, maybe, than it was then? Maybe the quality of player is maybe not what it was then, and does that make your job more difficult then?
I don't think it's that different. I don't know if it is different anyway. I think the league suffers from not having Hibs and not having Rangers in the top division. I think the quicker the two of them get back, they are two of the bigger clubs. They have the two of the bigger, crowds, and I think that's an important factor in the entertainment value and the challenge of the league. I think when these clubs are in it, so I think it's less because of that. But I'm not sure that the quality of player is any different from it was when I was here first time round.
I mean, I know you've done a lot of scouting in your time as assistant manager. You won't get the chance to do that now, but the fact that you're going to be working day in, day out with players, certainly when we spoke to you last Monday, you were really passionate about wanting to do that again. That must be really the big draw of getting this job, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I for the last 2.5 years, I have indulged myself going to watch Arsenal and Tottenham and Chelsea and, you know, all the London clubs, to watch all the lads, you know, with any tenuous link to Scotland. I'd been at their games, and I had to apologise to the Arsenal secretary at one time because I think he thought I had a season ticket. Or I thought I had a season ticket, because it seemed that every week they were playing a team that had Scottish players, and I've enjoyed that tremendously. That's been a privilege, you know, being able to watch these games in these places and watch the Scottish lads playing there. But, you know, there's only, you know, so many times you can do that. In between times, you know, there's only so many cappuccinos you can drink, you know, and, you know, if anyone wants to know about the best cappuccinos in East Sussex, I'm your man. But I've had enough of that, and, you know, being back here and the thought of coming in here on Thursday to go to training is just, you know, very exciting for me.
Last time you were here, Mark, you went for Aberdeen. Do you have any concerns about the winning the fans over, or having to win the fans over this time around?
I hope not, because I think the circumstances that I left here in, I think in some ways they were misrepresented. You know, I think there was, you know, at the time, actually I saw me leaving here as a positive, both for Motherwell Football Club, at a time when they were, you know, having sort of financial problems, you know, and me leaving here, trust me, helped them out big time, and I still get thanks from John Boyle for that. Sometimes the fans don't get the whole story. Because it was Aberdeen, it's irrelevant who it was. I didn't actually leave here to go to Aberdeen. As people know, I left here thinking I was probably going to Celtic and ended up at Aberdeen, you know, which was part of the problem that I eventually had. But, you know, I'm back here, all that is history. It doesn't sit at all in my mind. It's a fresh group of players, there's one or two old faces. But, you know, they'll be a help to me in all sorts of ways, and, you know, as I said a minute ago, I'm just, you know, really looking forward to Thursday and getting in and getting started. And I say Thursday, I would be in tomorrow, but I've been away for nearly 2 weeks from my family with the Scotland party, and really I need to go back and get some clean pants and, you know, and a few shirts, and then get back up here on Thursday morning or Wednesday night to get started.
Have you got an assistant?
Not yet. It's something I'll be, you know, it's something I've given time to already. You know, I've got to really think that one through as to what I'm going to do about that. But at this moment in time, no.
Scott Leach is obviously at the club already. Does that help? Maybe he can help you, I suppose.
You know, Craggs, Scott Leach, everybody I know at the club is going to be a big help to me, absolutely. You know, and their knowledge of the players that are here is going to be a tremendous asset for me. Yeah.